carrying out its mandate. That notwithstanding, it has become a commonplace for the public to comment about the year-end examination results by way of implying that Umalusi manipulates marks during its standardization process. Such claims are made without evidence, and speculation is made to appear as fact. Program Director, along the lines of making decisions which are sensible, good judgment, I deem it necessary to use this opportunity to briefly provide context to Umalusi standardization approaches and processes. The end of the year examinations are written by over 1.2 million candidates, spread over 5 qualifications that are assessed by 4 assessment bodies, namely the Department of Basic Education, the Department of Higher Education and Training, the Independent Examinations Board, and the South African Comprehensive Assessment Institute. 4, I said. The standardization of results that flow from these examinations is a function that the Umalusi Council has assigned to a committee of council called the Assessment Standards Committee. Its members are not the employees of Umalusi. They are some of the finest minds in our country, associated with different research institutes and universities. Thus, Umalusi relies heavily on the members of the Assessment Standards Committee, their knowledge and wisdom gained over a long period of time through experience. It is common cause that the Assessment Standards Committee arrives at its decisions after careful analysis of available numerical data, tabulated and graphed information, and narrative reports called post-exam analysis reports, reports of internal and external moderators, marking verifiers, reports of chief markers, and reports of other outstanding researchers to find evidence to serve as the basis for their standardization decisions. Of interest to the Assessment Standards Committee during its consideration of results relative to evidence presented is whether there is sufficient rational evidence to adjust the marks either upwards or downwards, or to retain raw marks. In instances where there is a difference between the Assessment Standards Committee's decision and the proposal presented by any of the 4 bodies, DBE, DHEAD, IEB, Sakai, over the 500 subjects, the assessment body consent of the 4 is allowed the opportunity to gather new evidence to present in motivation for a counter proposal. They are given time. We pack that subject and they are given time to go and strengthen their arguments. Should there be compelling reasons for the Assessment Standards Committee to agree with the proposal of the assessment body consent without violating principle of standardization, the initial decision of the Assessment Standards Committee is altered. The opposite is also true. Reasons to agree with the committee is final. This is because the independence of Umalusi is sacrosanct. We are independent, we are apolitical, we don't pander to anybody's agenda. In respect of the most recent set of results, in the November 2022 and June 2023 NSC results, most of the subjects were accepted as presented by the respective assessment bodies, DBE, DHEAD, IEB, and Sakai. This provides evidence that in recent years, there is a high degree of agreement between Umalusi and assessment bodies in terms of the direction of the standardization decisions. an emerging pattern in recent years is to us a sign of a maturing system. At the heart of the foregoing quality assurance processes is the need to safeguard the integrity and credibility of all the results. Crucially important is that Umalusi research has proven that the approach that we employ to standardize exam results is not out of sync with what is happening elsewhere in the world. It is for that reason that the Minister of Basic Education, Mrs. Angie Motshekga, remarked as follows during the congratulatory message on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of Umalusi. She said, "What we know is that to date, no research has been conducted to provide evidence that there is anything amiss about Umalusi standardization process." That's Mrs. Motshekga speaking. In the words of one of the top professors in mathematics, the work of the Assessment Standards Committee aims to prevent learners from being disadvantaged due to uncontrollable circumstances. Similar sentiments have been echoed before by senior academics in the education faculties of the universities that I, together with some senior managers of Umalusi, have engaged with. The overall theme that emerged from this interaction is that I now have a different perspective after engaging with these professors on Umalusi's standardization processes. Many people that we have presented to have had a eureka moment, if you know what eureka moment is. They've had an aha, a Lebanese experience, an experience which gives a sudden insight, then now I see moment, once our processes are explained. I'm going to digress from my speech because of what I've gathered from the media as I was driving down here. The debate about the 30% is raging, and I gather that points were made about this debate. Umalusi is not best qualified to defend the 30% debate. The DBE is qualified to engage in this debate. But let me explain where it comes from. The NSC metric serves many people. It serves many purposes. Our children are gifted differently. Not every child is going to proceed to a university. Some are going to go to university. Some are going to the world of work. Some are just wanting to be good citizens who understand how the country operates. So to demand that everybody must get a 50% for a person who wants to just be a good citizen is a demand that we cannot actually meet. And also, some people are not gifted adequately for them to go to universities. They just want to get a certificate that shows that they've gone through 12 years of schooling and then go and get a job at Cash Build as a teller, at Builders Warehouse as a teller. 12 years of schooling. And I've said this, and I want to repeat, our children are gifted differently. Not all of them are university material that goes to the University of Zululand. And pardon my language, I'm going to use it nonetheless. South Africa does not have dustbins to throw human beings who are not top achievers. We don't have a dustbin to throw human beings. We have to accommodate everybody and give them a qualification that is respectable. 30% is as old as matric itself. As old as matric itself, which dates as far back as the 1800s. I want to challenge people sitting in the audience here that you should go and check your certificates. In the past, during my day, during the days of the president of your union, we used to have high grade, which was 40%. We used to have standard grade, which we used to be 33 and 1/3%. 33 and 1/3%. We used to have lower grade, which was 25%, not even 30%. You will remember the statement, converted to lower grade to effect a pass. That lower grade was what percentage? It was 25%. So that even the people who are taking the 30%, if you were to look at their certificates, some of them might have got 3 and 1/3%, they might have obtained lower grade, which is 25%. I want to submit that the NSC, that I'm quality assuring at Umalusi, is much more difficult than the old senior certificate. In the old senior certificate, the minimum mark for a pass was 720 marks. You could fail, out of the 7 subjects, you could fail 3 and get distinctions in 4. As long as the aggregate mark was 720, you would pass. But look at the demands of the new NSC that Umalusi Quality shows. You are required to pass 3 subjects at 40%, which includes a home language, and then the other 3 at 30%, and you could fail the 7th one. And the people who pass at this level, 3 subjects will not go to university. And I want to add, the people who pass at this level constitute about 100 learners out of the 900,000 learners who write our examinations. Now the question is, why should we focus on 80 learners out of 900,000 learners? I've made my point. Let me make another point as I conclude this debate before I go back to my speech. You see, to satisfy the psyche of South Africans, last mark is 50%. But we then reduce the level of difficulty of the questions that we load in the question papers and the cognitive levels. Then we have 50%, then the psyche of everybody is fine. We have that 50% is, for me, what is key. What kind of questions have you put in that examination? Another point that I want to make as I land on this point is that for a candidate to pass at bachelor's, which qualifies him to go to a university, he or she must obtain at 50%. I think this gives you a perspective on this debate that has been raging in our country for many years. Umalusi, friends, does not see any value into entering into fruitless public debates, commentators, high-level public servants, or even academics in respect of its standardization processes and decisions. What we intend to do is to engage with people who are willing to listen to the principles that have informed South African education for many years. Today we've got in my audience capable men and women who have passed through the very same system that people are condemning today. Umalusi remains firm in its understanding and commitment to the idea that the best interest of learners is served when they receive a certificate of their learning achievement that is credible, that has integrity, and enjoys the confidence of citizens and social institutions of our country. That position has been cemented by the international benchmarking of the NSC report, which makes an overall finding that the NSC, that international benchmarking says, the NSC provides its holders with an international education. The report that I'm referring to is public www.umalusi.org.za. Umalusi has a vision of being a trusted authority in fostering high education standards in the general and further. It is on that account that quality assurance processes is the need to inculcate trust in the people of South Africa and examinations councils at continental level. When my CV was read here, it was clear that I'm serving in TAIA, which is a body for SADC, where we benchmark with the countries in SADC. I serve in a body of assessment institutions in Africa, AEAA, and I'll be hosting a conference of the AEAA in Cape Town in August next year. And then I also serve in an international body with my staff, the IAEA, and at the end of September we'll be in Jamaica, where we'll be holding a conference on standards. So our standards are not unique to South Africa, but they are benchmarked internationally. In 2016, association in Cape. Therefore, trust is very important. That the people of South Africa must trust the quality assurance, Umalusi, the shepherd, which in the Nguni language you'll understand that we have been entrusted with the responsibility of taking care of the country's most valued, for that reason that Umalusi invites, or dependent upon transparency,